Okay, guys, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose qualifiers for the USA Champion here in stage number 2. We're down to 4 remaining players down in the lower bracket and then the grand final. Basically, it's very, very simple, actually. We're going to have QXC and puCK now play off against one another. Yep. The winner's going to go on and play against Violet, and then the winner of that is going to go and play against Polt, and then the winner of that qualifies for the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose.
That was simple. It sounded really confusing when you kept saying it. I don't know why.
What?
There's so many names.
You're tired.
It's horrible sleep schedule time. It's very late here already, but it's fine because once it gets into StarCraft, everything becomes simple. I'm one of those casters who I can't deal with brackets. I don't know why. Anything over a single IEM, I just stop breaking and get confused.
Fair play.
I don't know why.
It's okay.
I need to have it in front of me.
Okay, well, no, I can understand that. It is like, if people aren't used to kind of the double elimination format, then it can get a little bit confusing. But anyway, countdown has begun to get into this best of 3. The person winning this is going to be basically our remaining alive American as they go up against Violet and Polt. Going into this. So again, 1 player advances onto Intel Extreme Masters San Jose from this qualifier. Then in the upcoming week, we actually have 4 cups, which will determine, it's actually single elimination cups, where 2 people go on to each of the finals, and then they go on, and we can have even 3 extra people coming from the America, South and North America regions to go on to Intel Extreme Masters San Jose as well. So we're breaking down the qualifiers into quite a lot of qualifiers for San Jose. But for now, let's get into game number 1. King Sejong Station is our map between QXC and Mr. puCK, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner at the Intel Extreme Masters. It is our lovely purple Terran. It is QXC, who's been playing fantastically as of late. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, always playing really, really well in the American region, it is Mr. IVD puCK. puCK. What are you doing, Maddles?
I'm getting hand signals that I should be moving where my mic is, so...
All right.
Just chilling around with that. It should all be good now. I've got a smiling producer giving me a thumbs up, so everything's fine. But yeah, a nice little bit of PvT. Good fun matchup here. What are you expecting from openings here, Claris?
Well, I was expecting entirely the idea of both of these guys going into the later stages of the game. One thing that QXC has been doing really, really well as of late is been playing those long TvPs. We saw a lot of it yesterday when we were casting stage number 1 of this qualifier, and likewise, we've actually just seen... I was watching a little bit of Base Trade's stream, and we saw QXC pretty much dismantling puCK in the previous round, which... again, it really shows how well QXC has been playing this matchup as of late. He just always keeps on with the aggression, always finds the angles, keeps sniping off buildings, slowing down your tech, and finds great positions later on to constantly harass.
Now, in terms of these two actually going up against each other, puCK currently slightly up, 16 games to 10 up against QXC here, so he is slightly favored to take it, although, as you rightfully said, in the previous round, QXC doing a great series up against puCK. It's going to be very interesting to see how this goes, because clearly QXC is looking pretty solid at the moment versus Protoss. Interesting positioning here. This is to give vision of the ledge more than anything else and try and prevent any Reaper that may be coming for a little scout about. Nice little touch.
Yeah, it's all right. QXC, though, is going completely the other side of the spectrum with this command center first opener, so this is really going to lend itself very, very nicely to just... eventually overrunning his opponent with macro. And again, QXC has looked really good when it's come to this kind of macro play later on in this particular matchup. So I'm going to say QXC is the favorite here going into this. He even gets an engineering bay block, so at least puCK didn't cancel the Zealot, send this probe down at a really good time.
This is still annoying though, and it's going to further enhance the fact that QXC is looking for a very strong economic position in this first game. And by blocking the natural, that just gives him an even bigger advantage on the timing of the natural bases. Behind this, an engineering bay also being thrown down exceptionally early from QXC.
Well, it's the one at the natural, right?
Oh, yeah, it is.
I've had that trap happen to me.
I've had that
a few
trap
times.
done as well.
I'm like, oh wow, that's a really early engineering bay, and then I'm like, not looking very strange.
It's because you're obsing, so I'm sitting there looking at production and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's alright, man. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. We'll just skim over that. That never happened. But yeah, in terms of how this game is going, it is pretty much as expected, and with that engineering bay now taken down, obviously puCK going to happily take natural base.
Yeah, just moving out a little bit into the middle of the map to exert a little bit of pressure, which does force this bunker down. QXC should be fine with that, though. And in the end, overall, that Reaper, the SCV getting over here, did inadvertently actually see quite a lot of the pylon positions, so he can technically look for tech later on, be it with scans. He saw this one because the Cybernetics core is up here, he saw this one because the gateway is down here, etc., etc. And it's always important as a Terran to know exactly where those pylons are later on for alternate scouting.
Now the bunker at the top here going to be very important. The Marines just instantly diving through, but the Stalker is just running straight past.
Oh.
Those Marines not being efficient enough, and of course, we now have a Stalker Zealot and a Mothership Core being a little bit irritating. Bear in mind, the Mothership Core does have enough energy to recall out or Time Warp. Going to go for the Time Warp, just so he can get away, prevent those Marines doing too much, but the Stalker not really achieving too much yet. May get a worker kill, potentially.
That was a lot of Marines actually there in the end that really shut that down. And, you know, with the Mothership Core having expended its energy and having to fly back now, if we saw QXC actually push out and try and put on some pressure at their natural, that'd be kind of cool because there's no energy for Photon Overcharge, right? He may just go right now and try and do something, because even the Stalker is really, really weak, so can't really be out here lingering about. So this would be cool if he goes, because again, no energy for Photon Overcharge is really irritating.
It's going to be very interesting to see actually what can be done here by QXC, because without that overcharge, Protoss are incredibly vulnerable to little pushes like this. There's no Marauder with it, there's no Concussive Shell or Combat Shield. Stim is just on its way now for QXC, but due to the Robo coming down straight off the back of just the one gateway, there's not much production either. So even though there are two Stalkers, one of which is incredibly badly damaged, this could do a lot for QXC.
Yeah, he really sees his opportunity here. This is all based off that Time Warp going down. Catches a few probes. Any probes he catches is really, really nice. Denies a lot of mining time as well. So he gets like 8 probes and a Stalker off of this. I'm happy with that trade as QXC, because he opened up so greedy himself behind this anyway. So it's 37 workers to 30 because he had that command center so early on.
All in all, puCK is going to take a couple of losses there. Chucks down the robotics bay off the back, so it's going to be going up into Colossus Tech ASAP. Meanwhile, QXC, he is just in a very, very happy position. He's starting up his +1 infantry weapon, starting up his starport, but as you said, everything that QXC has done in this game so far revolves around his economy, and that is going very, very well.
Yeah, he's playing a little bit in the dark at the moment, actually. I mean, he's seen how much gas was at the natural with that double gas being taken. But the missile turret at the front and the one now going up at the back, it's all basically saying, I'm going to prepare against everything, and then hopefully that I will be completely fine. Again, based on the fact that he had a stronger economy to begin with, he may be able to just get away with this. But the Observer's getting in and having a look around, and QXC's will eventually prepare for this. The Robo Bay was quite quick, just in essence, because he didn't get any Immortals in between all of that. But it was 4 Observers, so there's a lot of vision here for puCK to try and keep himself well bunkered down.
We do have Stim finishing up now for QXC. It's already active. The first 2 medevacs also in production. The Observer does manage to see the third coming on down, so that's a nice little scout for puCK. Not really much here to defend with, although Photon Overcharge is available. So that means they really can't push through, but ultimately QXC just checking to make sure nothing sneaky like a super fast third Nexus is coming on down.
Yep, there's Blink as well as Colossus on the way. Still making a few more probes, so I'm under the impression that there is the plan of a third base coming here for Mr. puCK, and there is the probe moving out now. I was going to say, because there are some kind of very quick Robo Bay builds with Blink as well to try and build a lot of Stalkers and a few Colossus and then just move and then try and kill off as many Vikings as you can and try and kill your opponent off there and then. But with still the prolonged probe production, it seems a little bit less likely that something like that's going to happen. This army's still quite strong here for QXC, though. Yeah,
it really is. Looking at the army supply, it's 43 to 32. There's no extended thermal lance, although not many Marauders here. Actually, with the army, I think there's a handful. There's 7 in total on the map. But the positioning of puCK's army is a little bit problematic, because if QXC does get into a nice position on the ramp, that could make it a bit harder. Up he goes. Gonna go straight for the Mothership Core. No Photon Overcharge! That's massive for QXC. He's gonna get so many probes now. And ouch for puCK.
Yeah, and he could just get the majority of this army out, just sacrificing a few units there for 24 workers killed off. That's Oh, God, such an opportunistic play. Really, really good timing as well. He saw the army move down to the third base, make sure everything was clear, and just went straight in. This is exactly why I said at the beginning, QXC is playing so well in this matchup at the moment.
He's now got himself up to a 40 supply advantage. His third base is up and running, remember? So he's got 3 orbital commands pumping out 3 mules. Actually, no, sorry, I take that back. 2 orbitals. He hasn't morphed the third one quite yet. It's just kicked in now. But yeah, Blink is about to finish up. Still no extended thermal lance. The Colossus count is only at 1, transitioning into Storm instead of going into many more Colossus. But look at this army for QXC. He's got a good group ready to go and harass the third, which will draw the small army over. And then just going to come in from behind the natural to deal even more probe damage.
I mean, he may even just completely deny this third base. He actually goes for guaranteed damage, which is the pylon, then into Nexus, and he's going to run away, but good positioning on those Stalkers as well, though. Ooh.
Oh, that was lucky for QXC, keeping that medevac alive. That would have been a frustrating loss for him. But also, great play there by puCK, splitting the army very effectively, predicting that perhaps something like that was coming in, realizing, hey, that army attacking my third, not quite all that I'd expect my Terran opponent to have at this stage.
It's not even like he had that much army anyway to do that with, so it was very, very strong separation there by puCK, with just the Stalkers on the top position. Because it could be all too easy as puCK to get a little bit crazy and put the Stalkers in the back of your main base, but because he's had such good observer positioning, he's been able to keep good tabs on where his opponent's army's been moving. So it's all come down to the observers to be able to deal with that one at least, not the one before that did so much damage in the mineral line.
Okay, the Ghost Academy has now just finished up for QXC, so he's going to stop chucking them out, being in good position to deal with the High Templar. They're now hitting the field. Storm, of course, is finished. The Viking count is always looking solid. 6 already on the field, 2 more about to pop on out, but only 1 Colossus for the time being.
Yeah, if we see this game go even further from QXC, like once he maxes out 200 and is a little bit apprehensive about if he wants to push in, then we're going to see him probably do exactly what he did yesterday against his previous Protoss opponents, which was orbitals, 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 lots and lots of scans, lots of information, lots of understanding where his opponent is at all times. And yesterday it worked out brilliantly for him. So something like that could easily happen again, but he's almost maxed out. The army supply is so heavily in favor of here for QXC.
Taking a look there, another scan coming on through, gets a nice little peek at exactly where this army is, what its composition fits through, but yeah, behind this QXC grabbing up a 4th orbital command now and is, well, just looking very, very happy.
Yeah. Second Forge is going to go down here for Mr. puCK, as QXC now is going to be looking to push down this left-hand side. And again, the Storms are the absolute linchpin of this army. If he does not hit the right Storms, he's scanning ahead to try and catch any observers off so that he can deny the information from puCK. If he can't see where this army is coming from, that's going to be fantastic. This is a really, really strong force. Jeez.
The positioning of these High Templar is also really good from puCK, just keeping them a long way back, out of actual sight of these scans as well. But of course, QXC isn't a fool. He sees only 1 Colossus, knows there's going to be something, but trying to just keep those High Templars safe is puCK, making sure that obviously they can't get quickly sniped out. That would be a massive problem for him.
There's only 1 Colossus. That's going to fall instantly, and then the Vikings are going to fly forwards.
Oh, the MP got 1 of the High Templar. There's the Storm.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings pretty much see everything. There's a few Storms that do kind of scratch this bio force, but without the AoE damage hitting the main brunt of this army, there can just be stims back and forth, back and forth. There's very few High Templars left in this.
There's none.
Oh,
all of them were taken down, and that is so painful.
If QXC knew, he could actually just run that force over, but he's going to just run away for now.
Well, he's got a 4th base up. He's obviously sitting in a very strong position, just waiting for a couple more ghosts, producing 6 at a time.
It's so funny, because, I mean, as much as QXC probably knows that he's in a really good spot in this game, he's, like, underestimating how much of a good spot he is in, and is just playing it safe, playing it cool, bringing down a lot of orbital commands. puCK is taking an ambitious 4th from his side of things, but right now QXC is pretty much allowing it.
Well, you've kind of got to go for something like that as puCK. You've got to take risks if you are behind, and puCK is going to be very much aware that things are looking a bit sketchy. He knows, after all, that he doesn't have many High Templar on the field, only 4 of them after a warp-in cycle. He knows that he's got no Colossus and is kind of at the mercy of QXC for the most part, but QXC just getting a few waves of reinforcements, remaxing, and is now moving on forward. And again, it's up to those storms being pretty epic.
Yeah. Again, the Vikings. Where are the Vikings? They went somewhere else. I'm not sure where they are. But they're kind of dead weight. If he wants to throw some land them later on, that would be nice. To just do something.
Few EMPs going down. Not really getting any of the High Templar, I don't believe. I'm just flicking through them. Actually, only 2 with this army.
He's still being just so patient about this. Blinks forwards there with 1. And baiting out just a few storms with a small bioforce at the front really is going to make this a little bit harder for puCK. Because he has to deter his opponent from moving forwards, right, with the army he has. There's still a lot of ghosts in this.
Those Widow Mines are going to get a few nice hits off. Engagement coming on through now from puCK. A lot of charge shots getting in up in the front of that fight. That should force QXC back for the moment. Picks up a couple of units, hightails it out of there. All in all, nice engagement coming through from puCK.
Yeah, 2-2 really helping out quite a bit here. It's 2-2 against 2-2, of course, with 3-3, which will eventually finish up before the opponent's 3-3. It's the Vikings upgrades are actually still on the way, but there's not too many Colossi to deal with yet, but it's good that he keeps the Vikings alive, because overall, why would you really want to be throwing them away later on when you know your opponent's probably going to be going into a double Colossus transition later on, which is the normal go-to for a Protoss here, and indeed that double Colossus production has already begun, so...
Just keeping an eye in the production tab, we've got obviously the Dark Shrine coming on down, but the 3-3, as you said, that's going to be really important for puCK, because for a start, he's a long way ahead of them anyway. He can chrono boost them out to get even further ahead. Probably going to end up at 3-3 up against 3-2 on the ground. But yeah, more Colossus being pumped out. 3 on the field. The Vikings should do a fairly good job against them. There's 11 of them with the +1 attack, soon to be +2 attack as well.
puCK just separating off a few Zealots here to really try and kind of keep his opponent on his toes. Overall, puCK has found good stability on the 4th base. His army now is looking pretty good. He's been able to survive that window where QXC had a really, really strong advantage. And any Zealots he can split off to try and get to the economy would be nice, but so far, not really too lucky with that, as these Zealots get kind of shut down, and the ones on the right did as well. So it's going to take a little while longer. Again, QXC is going to play this out patiently. I mean, we can already see how many orbital commands he's added on at the back, and he's going to add on even more, because he is so about the scans. He loves those scans. Loves them.
A little dance around now of movement. The Vikings just seeing if they can catch a Colossus out of position. More scans. QXC loves them.
And it's basically just Mexican standoff. Like, what are you going to do here? Do you really want to go up this ramp and get EMP'd fully? Do you really want your Colossus leading the charge and taking a few extra volleys just like that one? It's like, wow, well, that was a free Colossus for 1 or 2 Vikings in the end. And he even sees the High Templar down here, which dies off with full energy.
That's a really good pick-off. There's only 1 more High Templar on the field, and actually it's... Okay, a couple more getting warped in, but the 1 High Templar wasn't with the army. So that's a bit of a problem into itself.
Yeah, income looking not too bad for both of these guys, as puCK still has that 4th base nice and running quite well down to this bottom left. But again, he's having to take so many precautions here. If there was a little army separated off to the right-hand side to do something, it wouldn't be too bad. But at the same time, if you look at the puCK's vision, he has like a wall of vision on that right-hand side, which is helping him out quite nicely. It's just this little gap here that would be exploited by QXC if he wanted to pick up some units and go straight to the main or something.
QXC is sending a little hit squad in towards the natural base. There isn't actually anything really defending there, so this should be able to get a gas. Just going to be a little bit awkward, but okay. Back comes the army, but this exposes the 4th. Does QXC realize everything's being pulled? He does now. Over he goes. This could be a problem for puCK.
Scans. Give him this opportunity. He's going to focus down the Nexus. Gets that very fast. And could even just walk out of here completely fine. He lost a few Vikings that were trying to intercept the movement of the Colossi. But aside from that, that was a lovely move by him. Again, all aided by scans. QXC plays a game of information, and he just has every single bit of it at his hands.
A couple of units also coming again in towards that natural base. QXC is in a nice spot, and look at the pressure it's put on puCK. puCK's like, I've got to go now. I've got to do something about this. I've just lost the base. But you don't want to move up that ramp. There's EMPs there. It would be so risky to do it. The Viking count is actually a bit low at the moment. 9 popping out after a production cycle, but they do have the +3 attack.
Yeah, it's a lot of Colossi that he actually has here. I think this army, in terms of its AoE potential, has so much behind it, but if EMPs land, then, I mean, what are the High Templars really going to do in the end? There's actually not that many of them overall, even with this force. Just some on the flanks, making sure that they can get into the fight later on as it goes on for a while. This Ghost's actually working away at a Colossus. There's so many Colossus, 8. Wow.
It is a big commitment. The important thing now for QXC is he needs to free up a bit of supply to get a couple more Vikings out. He's only got 12, and up against this volume of Colossus, that's going to be taking a while to beat through them all. Take a look, nukes also coming on through. The orbital commands are still being produced in the many, going to be going up to 12 of them in total.
This Ghost has got 9 kills just on random probes of trailing around here and there. So, you know, why not? Keeps dropping the scans. Keep seeing exactly where this army is. There's actually cannons at forward locations to try and solidify the middle of the map here for him, but he still has to be wary because
we've got an engagement coming down now at this fourth. A couple of storms are good. A big blink up onto the high ground. The Colossus are just so numerous. Another storm hits those Vikings, going to be easing them up, but look at the supplies.
He kept so much of his bio alive behind all of that. The Colossi were focusing down the command center, really not doing too much as well. He's going to win this fight. He's going to win the fight down to the bottom left here too. And QXC, despite losing this base, he has so many orbital commands behind this. I don't think this, in the end, is going to work out for puCK too well.
No, the supplies really tell a big story. Again, that fourth Nexus goes down for puCK. A nuke even being called in here, just being as irritating as possible. That is a mighty good Ghost. 12 kills on it. May even get a couple of probes if puCK
Stalkers!
Stalkers, no, don't go into it! Okay.
Archons. Oh, well, he just zipped it. Poor little guy.
He was so close.
Yeah, he was. Oh, well. Other than that, I mean, QXC is so far ahead. His army supply is good. He's going to try and seize the advantage down to the bottom left-hand corner. He's not quite pushing the initiative as much as I would expect after destroying such an army like that. And, oh, it was the one with some stuff in it. That's kind of sad. But actually, now that I look at it, quite a lot of his army supply. Okay, it's just at the back here. I was wondering where it all was. He saved so many medevacs during all of these engagements. That's one thing that's really important. Of course, he lost all of his ghosts, and that's probably the one thing that's slowing him down. I'm pretty sure these Stalkers just got a medevac again. So apologies for missing that. Again, I'm no pro observer like Funker, but I do my best. But yeah, once he gets the ghosts, I mean, what's really going to stop him from pushing? Not too much.
No, and he's also put, obviously, puCK in a very awkward position in terms of income. puCK doesn't really have much in the bank, doesn't have much coming into the bank either. So how do you remake that army? There was so many Colossus out on the field, and they've all now been picked off. There's only 2 remaining, only the 4 High Templar, and not really much support on the ground for them either. QXC's nearly maxed out again, and he's already moving forward. Again, just scanning, scanning, scanning at every opportunity, and just picking apart where he can.
Yeah. He's really starting to perfect this style, which is really cool to see, of just, I'll get to the late game, the really, really late game, and always know where your army is. Always know what your tech's going to be, because I'm constantly throwing down scans. Always know what your army composition is going to be, and I'll tailor myself around that. And then once your opponent slips up, or once he sacrifices bases, then he just capitalizes. And again, we saw it yesterday. We're seeing it here again. So it's gonna be a tough series for puCK, I think, a really tough one.
These 2 Marines just seeing if they can deal any damage. More scans, yet again, just taking a full look. Where's the army? What's it doing? And well, QXC's maxed. And this is going to be a scary moment for puCK. He's only down at 143 supply. It's 151 army supply to 98 Polaris.
Yep. Doesn't want to be sacrificing too many of those Vikings at the front. It's 6 Vikings against 4 Colossi. We'll be going up to 10 pretty soon. That'll be a nice little number. A bit more to deal with those. And again, just keep scanning, walks forwards, walks back. Make sure he always knows where it's going to be. Sees a few of those High Templars at the front, tries to snipe those out. With just small bioforces, forcing a few of these storms. And all in all, his economy is always stable behind this, because puCK actually hasn't found any opportunities to throw down extra zealots elsewhere, because look at his bank. He can't really afford harassing zealots at this point, unless he runs the risk.
Again, it's going to get taken down. Doesn't get cancelled either, and that's something that really puCK can't afford, to really keep producing that. He's got nothing in the bank. His income compared to... Actually, QXC doesn't have an amazing income, but still, he's got a lot of money in the bank, so he can afford to wait. Nuke being called on down. More scans.
He's using this more positioning than anything. He actually kills off the one that does land the nuke, throw the nuke down even. And a lot of those EMPs didn't hit many of the High Templars. Only one really got caught during all of that. Brings the Stalkers forward, so maybe killed off a ghost or 2, but in the end, there's still plenty of ghosts. Well, 4 overall, but they have energy. That's the important part about this. So those High Templars still can't move forwards.
This scan style is really nice by QXE.
Yeah, he just never stops. Just never, ever stops.
To be fair, he does have 11 orbital commands, and he's making 2 more command centers, so he does have quite a lot of opportunity to use them, but it just makes it so difficult for puCK to do anything about it.
At least he saw this drop down to the bottom right-hand side, so he could position himself again. But right now, he drops a scan, sees the majority of his opponent's army in that spot, and is just going to break down these rocks and look to put some pressure on here. And it's exactly the same as we saw him playing yesterday. He's just looking for angles, looking for if he can get on top of gateway facilities, anything.
This is triggering puCK to go, though. He knows that a good chunk of this Bioforce is attacking, so he's going to try and utilize that opportunity to engage. But QXE, he's still maxed out, and puCK not confident enough to go for it because, as again, we see more scans.
Yep, and he'll just press the issue on this right-hand side. There's not really a whole lot that can work here. Even the Dark Templars that keep getting warped in, he'll just scan and 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 kill everything off. Know exactly what's going on. The army is just in limbo, pretty much, for puCK. What does it do? Does it come back to defend this annoyance? Scans keep dropping down here as well. These Colossi were quite exposed there. EMPs and everything just rained down on this location.
Still more scans. I tell you what, QXE, he's going to have a good medical insurance for his units because they must be getting some kind of radiation poisoning from this. They're just constant.
He never stops. He actually never stops. And this army, it's just gone uncontested. It just walks into the main. I mean, QXE at this point kind of is making this this TvP style look really easy. Unless he loses some really weird engagement later on, or sacrifices a lot of his army on a move command. I don't know how puCK's going to get out of this
the Stalkers may be able to pick off a couple of medevacs. Are they going to commit to chasing? No, they shouldn't do. There's not enough. Army supply-wise, it is probably the levelest it's been for quite a while. It's still in QXE's advantage, 151 to 132.
Oh, he's looking for the intercept. He keeps dropping scans, keeps finding all of these little pockets of army. And if he gets anything here, it's a great trade.
Oh, the Vikings, the 2 Colossi, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. One of them goes down already. That leaves only 4 more on the map. But look at the resources lost, Kalaris. This is now starting to become quite a big difference, especially when we factor in the QXE has just got bases everywhere. And puCK is struggling to maintain them.
Yeah.
Oh, again, the main base.
Well, there's a little bit of a storm to catch a few Marauders, but that's it. Really not doing as much as he would like to. Few Archons and High Templars on this left-hand side. Look, we're looking to flank for a main engage. EMP does not hit those 2 High Templars on the left-hand side. It does second one, though, really ripping away some of that. He actually got to maybe multiple stim there to get out of this position. This is as good as his army's ever going to be because of all those High Templars at the back. But if he gets an EMP on those, then it's going to be lights out here for puCK.
Bear in mind that small splinter force for QXE is still going to town. A couple more DTs getting warped in to try and deal with it, but scans and scans and scans and scans mean that they're not really going to do much. And that's a lot of gas being invested in trying to stop this force, but the Marauders still going strong, trying to work away the production facilities. Checking to make sure no more DTs.
The scan noise never actually stops. It's kind of funny. It just keeps going, man. Thanks, QXE. Thanks for making the point. Well, overall, he's basically playing with map hack right now. Like, nothing goes on without him understanding exactly where it's moving. He always keeps an eye on the army. He always keeps an eye on any Dark Templars when he's harassing. He'll keep an eye over here. He'll even get a few of these workers. Where did he scan just then? He scans on this army again, making sure it's still sitting around there. It's like, you pushing? No? Okay, well, I guess I'll be fine then.
It's the way he's pulling apart puCK as well, just coming from so many different angles and never overcommitting. He's just really happy just to slowly chip away and just be like, your army's moved a fraction. I'll get a Stalker here. I'll get a Colossus there. Never going for a full engage. And then call, mighty Mule Hammer.
That was a lot of
18 mules.
Wait.
That's a lot of mules. Wow.
Oh, jeez.
That may be the most mules I've ever seen.
That is a lot of mules. That is a lot of mules in a proper game. Yeah, that's a lot of mules. Well, that's going to give him a lot of minerals, which you can make technically a lot of Marines with. Marines can become kind of redundant at this point because there is so much splash, and there is a lot of High Templars, but if they do get hit by Storm, then that kind of makes it kind of useless.
The minerals are just there to make more orbital commands to,
I guess so.
To get more scans.
Oop, few EMPs. Didn't really hit too many High Templars in that, though.
Bear in mind, we're approaching the 40-minute mark in this game.
Surprise, surprise. We get caught in these series and, well, one Colossus falls. Anything he could pick off is great.
The trades are just so ridiculously effective. It's about 10,000 more resources lost by puCK compared to QXE at the moment. And
snipes.
High Templar down. Another
More
one gets
snipes.
taken down.
More snipes.
Still 6 High Templar. A couple of EMPs tried to go down before the ghost die. Were any of those cool ghosts? I don't think I've heard a cool ghost yet.
A cool ghost?
You know the ones that die and they're like, never say die.
Oh, no, no, no. These ones are all the very, very much so in pain ghosts.
Yeah.
So that's okay. I think we're going to have a nuke. Come on, little ghosty. Yeah, I can watch it. Yeah, I'm Infeza and Funker. Yeah. I specifically kept the Ghost Academy on the select so I could follow it. Should I watch it, nuke? I want to watch the engagement.
The engagement. The engagement maybe not doing anything. Just scanning. Lots of scans.
Yeah, the ultimate weapon in QXC's arsenal, which is the scan.
A couple of good EMPs actually going through there.
Yeah.
2 High Templar were caught by those. 3 actually.
Still all the agonizing death ghosts. And as this game continues on, QXCs were like, well, I'll just take bases on your side of the map as well because it doesn't really matter too much. Actually taking a big, big engagement on this left-hand side. He catches a lot of that army separated off from the right-hand side. And, I mean, army supply is now way in QXC's favor. If he moves down to this bottom left-hand side and actually just denies this 4th base because he has much more power behind this force, he could be fine. I mean, there's no Colossi here. He just needs to land the EMPs and then he's totally fine. He gets a lot of them.
That's what all the EMPs he needs. And instantly, all of those High Templar becoming Archons. This is going to be a big problem for puCK now. QXC's landing the Vikings. Just getting out a lot of damage. Some of that bio not even engaging at this stage. But this pretty much looks like it's going to be it. GG. And QXC, after 42.5 minutes, takes game number 1.
It was looking so convincing as well during the entire game. Like, QXC was fully in control at every step. So that's really, really scary for puCK because if QXC can play out that kind of long game and just always be in control with the scans, with his unit composition, puCK has to do something probably aggressive to make sure it just doesn't get to that point where his opponent has perfect information.
The thing is, it's not even when in doubt scan because QXC's never in doubt because he's always scanning, literally everywhere. And it's just so difficult. puCK, I'm in complete agreement with you. He can't let it get to that stage because QXC has the control, but also very importantly, the patience. Possibly even to a fault. There were times where I think he could have won the game, but just wait, scan a bit more, wait till the exact moment that I can definitely take a nice trade, and it must be infuriating to play against that.
Yeah, and you know what? The next map's actually Deadwing, so there's the potential for another really, really long game. Let me suggest you to this game as well, just to make sure that you're in.
I think QXC has just gone BRB. Which is always the way to say.
That's fine.
But yeah, Deadwing, another very, very big map, a macro-orientated map, and we could be seeing a lot of scans that's coming on through.
I think from puCK's point of view here, going up against that kind of style, you actually have to finish it early. You actually have to do something a little bit more aggressive. But on a map like Deadwing, how do you get across there and start to just kill off your opponent? When QXC was opening up greedy, when he was already pretty well hunkered down. I mean, he was taking good opportunities against puCK, who was providing them to him. I mean, all we have to do is go back to the very beginning of that game, look at the way which the Mothership Core was over, being aggressive with the Zealot Stalker, Time Warp was used, and then, I mean, QXC got how many pro kills off the back of that? Like 8? So it was a really good start for QXC. It
was a really nice position as well. And also, that Mothership Core, when it was originally over, it got very, very low. So later on, I can't remember the exact point, but it was relatively early in the game. The second little shove-in picked off the Mothership Core, no photon overcharge. About 20 probes went down at that stage. Always QXC, just getting chipped away at. And trying to recover from that is just so difficult, especially when your opponent literally has full map vision thanks to never-ending scans. So much so that I think I'm going to be dreaming about the scan sound tonight.
That was a lot of scans.
It's like ingrained in my head.
There should be extra statistics in StarCraft that shows actually how many scans went down that entry game, because once he gets to that position of having like 6 extra orbital commands, he never stops. And it's really cool. It's really cool to see, because like if your Protoss opponent is using observers everywhere as a Terran, why can't you have this same power of just having all the scans, always keeping an eye on your opponent's army, and you can't kill scans, which is quite nice as well.
And the thing is, it's just the way you can always get into a good position to be able to engage into someone, or it's not even the big engagement. He's just always looking to try and chip away. And I think that's the thing. The only danger I see with that strategy is just occasionally during that game, I thought QXE maybe could have been a bit more aggressive, look to end it. And
Yeah.
was just being
There were windows.
There were windows where he was just being very, very careful, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that's somewhere where maybe that strategy could get exploited. If you give someone a bit too much room, maybe they can catch up. But enough about the theory crafting, the what-ifs, because the countdown has begun. Deadwing is going to be map number 2 here in the losers bracket. And, well, we're loading on through. What are you reckoning we're going to get seeing? puCK get very aggressive?
I think we'll see exactly the same game, actually. I really do. If we do see exactly the same game, if maybe puCK opens up a little bit greedier than he did in the previous game because it is Deadwing, because he maybe can get away with it, and then transitions onto the later game a little bit better than he did in game number 1, and then tries to put on harassment himself to kind of have zealots here and there trying to get through to mineral lines and stuff. Maybe that could work, but I think it's going to be difficult because, as I say, QXC right now, in my mind, is playing this matchup at least the best he's ever played it. So let's get into game number 2 now to see who is going to advance on to play against Violet in the next round, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner. Cross positions, it is our purple Terran, it is QXC. And down to the bottom right, arguably the contender right now because of how QXC looked in that first game. Representing IVD, it is puCK.
Now, bear in mind, these two are battling to play off against Violet in the losers bracket final. The winner there will go on to face Polt in the grand finals for that spot at Intel Extreme Monsters San Jose. They get a flight and a hotel if they get through one of these qualifiers.
Yep, yes they do. They'll join the 4 players already qualified. Vortix, 4GG, Hero, and Rain. 2 of which were from the European qualifiers, 2 which were from the Asian qualifiers. You can pretty much guess who was where. Aside from that, we're going to be bringing 4 players from the Americas, 1 from this qualifier, and then 3 from the upcoming America qualifiers, which consists of all the continents over there. So still a lot of qualifiers to come for San Jose. The tournament itself is going to be fantastic, as it's in the same arena that the Sharks playing over there, which is a hockey team, I believe. I don't know too much about San Jose. I'm not going to lie, but I've done my research, and that's where we're going. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool.
What's your favorite stop you've ever been to?
Favorite stop I've ever been to? Jeez.
Just anywhere in the world.
Intel Extreme Masters or everything?
Everything.
Everything. I still kind of have to go with Katowice, man. Katowice is, we've been twice, and it's just, the atmosphere is ridiculous. We also hosted ESL1 at one of the last Katowice. And when the Polish team was in the finals for Counter-Strike, that was insane because of all the crowd was Polish, obviously. So the crowd was absolutely crazy. So that was nice. That was nice to witness. But then, likewise, the StarCraft finals was a bit kind of anticlimactic with SOS just deciding he's the king of all cheese in PvP and decided to just rip Hero apart. But it's always good. It's always good as Katowice. Definitely go if you get the chance. Even if you're not commentating there, even if you're not doing anything as in a work-related situation, just go, because Katowice is awesome.
You'll be on my holiday destination list now.
Yeah, do definitely.
That's a good endorsement.
Yeah.
Better than TripAdvisor. It's well up there.
The atmosphere is electric. It's so amazing.
Anyway, this game we have got a very, very similar opening, actually. Just the 1 Rax coming on down, getting a reactor on the back of it. So the Reaper coming on through. There's the command center, though, so a little bit safer from QXC, getting that Reaper down nice and early. But over on puCK side, we've got, of course, the natural Nexus on its way through. This Reaper still just going for a nice little adventure.
Yeah, I mean, QXC isn't going to mind too much, I don't think, after seeing what his opponents opened up with. Because overall, I imagine QXC is more than happy and content to go into another 30, 40-minute game. If you can find maybe some room to poke later on, that'd be nice, in the opening stages of this. But if he doesn't, I don't think he minds too much. The way he played out the long game in that first match was pretty brutal.
I'm just thinking, I'm trying to work out what puCK can do, and if it gets to that stage, I'm coming up a bit blank. What would you do, Claris, if you let QXE get into those real late moments.
I think he's just got to play a standard game out. Going for like a two-base two-base Colossus push on this map, you've got so far to walk. QXE is probably going to have tabs on it, like with units at the front or something like that, as he'll maybe try and find some room to poke. He's just going to play out a long game, but really, really well. Try and find some room for harassment. Maybe have a Warp Prism in the mix. Have some pylons on the left and right, because puCK was always on the back foot throughout the last 25, 30 minutes of that first game.
It's going to be so awkward if he does get behind again, although this time puCK is being a little bit more cautious, sending out just the one Stalker forward just to go and get a look what's coming. As expected, QXE has got a decent amount of production coming on through that. One Marauder out. Should be seeing him move across the map at some point. Going to go and try and waste a little bit of Mothership Core energy. Maybe trying to get a bit of damage down on any Stalker that's being a bit adventurous. Scans are already starting. Oh, it's early stages.
It's happening again. Oh, no. Well, overall, it was a great scan. It saw the Robo, it saw the extra gateways being added on. So at least he knows that he's going to be playing against a super standard build here. So he's gearing up for maybe a little push out with some of this army that isn't really going to get a whole lot done. The Mothership Core is there. It has energy.
This is actually really nice positioning from QXE. He's just at the top of the ramp. He doesn't have Concussive Shell yet, but this Stalker could be running into some problems. Up he goes of the ramp. If he takes that, it's going to be a nice pickoff. That was really nice positioning, actually, leaving it there.
Yeah, and overall, with puCK being really in the dark about what his opponent's doing, the 3 barracks opener has just gone unnoticed, and he may be lulled into a false sense of security here, but at the same time, he isn't, because he's adding on the Immortal, so he's accommodating for the idea of this push coming along. But it has a little bit more power behind it, because he didn't see these Marines. He only saw this first little force, so he doesn't want to underestimate this at all. The Observer is going to reveal the full extent of this, or it should do. There we go.
Quite a late time to see it, though, knowing that's coming on through. Photon Overcharge instantly triggered, just as you would expect. Just running away with this infantry for now. Stim is nearly completed. That's only got about another 25 seconds until it's done, so does open up an opportunity for fun.
Yeah, the reinforcements for QXC were so aggressively coming across the map here. So once Photon Overcharge has dissipated...
is there enough for a second?
Yeah, there is, though. So I don't think he's going to get too much done with this. Unless he just completely goes for it, like...
Either way, you wasted all of the energy on the Mothership Core just by forcing this out. And QXE hasn't really lost much yet, just that Reaper going down. But in he goes, his timing, he's feeling confident with it, going straight for this army. The Photon Overcharge is still active, a couple of force fields coming on through. But the infantry going for the guaranteed damage, a few probes picked off. Was the second Photon Overcharge triggered there? Yes, it was. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he has to really do something with that. It's always guaranteed damage for him, at least. The longer this army sticks around, and we'll get that Observer at least. But with the first Colossus now on the way, it's going to be really difficult for him to continue that. He just falls back onto the 3rd command center, which is actually on spot. So overall, that army... It did a little, you know, it traded away some units for some units, and it forced the 2 Photon Overcharges, but other than that, it really gives him a good, strong foothold on this 3rd base, because it's so far away, because it's on the route of attack as well. So, puCK, he's just going to have to take his 3rd base nice and fast.
And this is at a very similar time to QXE taking his 3rd. QXE slightly further ahead on that, but not by too much. In terms of upgrades, there's a slight advantage here for puCK this game, which is different to last game. Last game, puCK was playing the catch-up, this time ahead, so QXE theoretically now can never actually get ahead in upgrades, thanks to that wonderful thing called a Chrono Boost.
Yeah, Chrono Boost, pretty good, man. Do like focusing that into the upgrades, but of course, if he feels a little bit pressure, maybe he'll throw some of that into that Colossus production, which is still continuing on, adding on 3 extra gateways as well, and at this point, what has he really seen? He hasn't seen anything in QXC's base, so he doesn't... he's now spotted the 3rd base about to finish up, but I still think that QXC is probably just going to play us out for the long game. I don't anticipate something like an SCV pull coming along.
Might just try and pressure into here, get a little bit... If he forces the cancel, which I don't know he can't, okay, the army's in a good position. Forces a bit of sentry energy to be expended, but that's not the end of the world. All in all, just getting information and trying to poke where possible. But again, we're seeing QXE play the same sort of style of always be safe.
That was actually just a little bit out of range. Well, it was about to get out of range, so that was really, really
Bullets
close.
were already flying.
Yeah. And overall, I mean, puCK here is pretty well locked down. He's got Stalkers in good spots. His army in between these two bases with the Colossus should be able to protect him well. And I wonder if he just saw that lift off. I'm not 100% sure if he saw that or not. But again, he's already prepared with the Stalkers at the back. So unless he moves them for any particular reason, he should be okay.
Of course, the Templar Archives again coming on through. In terms of the Colossus count, it is a 2 this game rather than just the 1 we saw in map number 1. But again, going to be looking just for that high Templar focus. Those 2 medevacs looking for an opportunity to get on through, but the mean little observer keeping a good check on them.
Yeah, it's right-hand side as well. He's looking for holes in this play, but again, puCK isn't really giving him any. The only slight thing is a bit of a supply block here for puCK, which is kind of annoying. This is really, really saturated, so getting into those gas guys is going to be absolutely perfect for him. And there was another poke on this left-hand side, but again, puCK's shutting all of this down. So a pretty slow pace to this second game as he tries to drop in here as well.
He's getting a very nice engagement position, but unfortunately loses one of those medevacs. Are there any workers really being taken down here? Not massively, just the Zealots predominantly being focused. The second medevac was killed with a good blink forward from the Stalkers, though, so that was always going to be nice. That takes the medevac count to 7, which is still huge, but yeah, Viking production now starting up, a second starport starting up as well. Upgrades are currently 1-1 up against 0-1 in favor of puCK, which is just nice. It's different to game number 1 with puCK having that upgrade advantage early on.
Yeah, and with puCK actually killing off as much as he did on the left and right-hand side, QXC isn't going to have the luxuries that he had in the previous game of always being on the offensive, always keep being in his opponent's face. I actually think puCK is in a great spot at this point with his tech, with his army composition, with his economy. This is a much, much better game for puCK. I mean, he was trying to set up pylons to eventually maybe even take this 4th base and then start warping in some Zealots later on to harass down other avenues, but he's well on top of this. He's ahead in a lot of ways, a lot of aspects.
Okay, so we've got more High Templar coming into the mix now as Storm is about to finish on up for puCK. Meanwhile, the Ghost Academy has been finished, so we should see the first few Ghosts hitting the field shortly, and there we go, 3 in production now. And it's going to be this battle of the EMPs versus the Storms, who can hit them better. Army positioning going to be pretty critical. The command center count is starting to rapidly rise as 2 more in production now for the Complexity Terran. And well, Claris, this is looking rinse and repeat of game number 1, but with a big difference.
Yeah.
The puCK hasn't taken a beating early.
Yeah, he might lose a few Stalkers here. They do blink back, though, and this army will have to get out for itself for QXC. puCK is actually barreling across the map here. These bunkers were set up in a little bit ago because of how QXC took the damage with those medevacs earlier and really didn't get too much done with them. Resources lost is a really big speller of kind of that tail. And in the end, holding on against this army is really... he could actually die to this army, technically. If the Storms land well, he doesn't have that many Ghosts. He only has 3 Ghosts and limited EMPs. And look at this, he's trying to bunker down. He knows the severity of this situation.
So puCK just trying to spread nicely. The Viking count isn't crazy high. There are 4 Colossus as well, so they're going to be quite scary. There's 13 Vikings to deal with those, but the 3 bunkers with the 3 supply depots just trying to prevent some of the Zealot surface area from really causing too much of a problem is going to help. QXC, of course, frantically trying to get out more Ghosts as well. 6, 7 of them now on the field. Those EMPs going to be critically important. But here we go, puCK moving on in.
Yeah, he has quite a few of the High Templars in the middle here. One of them does get EMPs, so does the second one. Really good use of the EMPs, but a Storm lands anyway. Bunkers have already been ripped apart. Vikings, are you going to be able to do your job well enough? There was 1 Archon under them, but it didn't really do splash damage. The 2 Colossus on the left-hand side aren't really doing as much damage to the bio as they would like to. There was a split off of the left-hand side. It was really kind of messing around with the Colossus shots. And in the end, I think with reinforcement point, QXE should be able to hold on, but he's going to have to bring SCVs as well off the line for this.
It was a very, very close hold. QXE is going to lose quite a few of those workers, actually. 23. It should be still enough with the reinforcements to force puCK back, but overall in terms of the damage done, 23 workers picked off there. That hurts a heck of a lot, especially when the Protoss player has a 4th base now established too.
Yeah, he just, QXC, he just found no holes earlier on. puCK was well locked down with his defenses, and these extra warpins, even with the cannons going down at the front, I mean, if he just banks up a few Storms in High Templars that he would like to warp in at the front here, he's going to be in a really, really good spot.
bear in mind all of the ghosts were killed as well.
Yeah.
So the 2 coming out, that means EMP count is non-existent currently. As a result, those High Templar are going to have a much nicer time, because in credit to QXC, one of the reasons he managed to just cling on there was because of some good EMPs.
He's going to move forwards. Doesn't really have many EMPs for this army, so would really like to rip away the shields of the Zealots and the Archons. But again, he has to, any EMPs he would have in this force really need to be saved for any High Templars that were threatening as well, which are now banking up energy at the back. He's got very limited resources in the army as a whole because there is just limited energy on these ghosts.
Of course, all of the map pressure really coming now from puCK. QXE is on the back foot. He does have a 4th base, which I don't believe puCK... Oh no, puCK has seen it, but it's a planetary, so he doesn't want to get pincered potentially into a bit of a dangerous situation there. But all in all, puCK is dictating the pace of this game at the moment.
It's a complete role reversal, really, as things have gone out. From game number 1 to game number 2. puCK's army is fantastic. He's going to take down this planetary fortress. Nothing he can do about that. And then from there on, he could easily restrict his opponent in terms of bases, in terms of movement, in terms of anything. High Templars are going to walk forwards. I don't want to get caught in there. But this is a really good bunker down position against pure Zealots. EMPs are going to hit a lot of that. Not the High Templars, though, but Zealots just can't filter through that wall. So it's going to take a little while longer, maybe.
Those supply depots doing a grand job of preventing a lot of that coming on through. A couple more EMPs do go down. No Storms being able to get hit as of yet. I'm not sure if any of the High Templar actually were caught, but only one is actually alive. So some good focusing with those snipes. Still, puCK having to wait. QXC, though, did lose that planetary at the 4th. And with the 2 Colossus able to start working away at this 3rd mineral line.
Yeah, and that's going to mean that this economy is going to plummet a little bit here for QXC, who is just caught between a rock and a hard place. This medevac not really doing a whole lot on the right-hand side. He drops scans, but they're nowhere near as frequent as the previous game because he's just so pinned in this corner.
And this is really all the puCK needs to do is wait. Just say, you're not getting out, you're not getting a 4th base. Meanwhile, I'm taking the entire map. I'm being safe from drops. And while he can't easily move up into that position, as we said, because of those supply depots bottlenecking the Zealots, there's not really any time soon the QXE is going to be able to come out and play.
Yeah, the army supply is technically pretty similar, just because there's actually not that many SCVs. He's actually going to take the engagement on this side, but again, this is so in favor of puCK because all the volleys he's getting off on the from the Colossi are doing so much damage, and he can just replenish better because he has more bank. So QXE right now, I mean, he needs to find a solution. What it is, it might just be a straight-up engagement and then run to the other side and hope to God his opponent hasn't remaxed, but
I don't think he can deal with the Colossus. There's 4 of them now on the field. The Viking count is at a measly 5. That's not really the kind of numbers you're going to be wanting to sit there at, and every time these Colossi get a quick little run by with those thermal lances onto the bio, it wastes a bit more medevac energy. The medevac count not great, only 7 on the field at the moment. It's just so challenging. It's just a matter of when is it going to go down, and it looks like now that Storm is very, very good. So is that one, and I think that's going to be it, Kalaris. The Colossus at the back just dealing so much damage. The Vikings are able to force this through, and we're going to get puCK be a little bit cautious and not move up, but those Storms, they were so good.
Yeah, all he has to do is warp in Zealots and Zealots and Zealots, make sure a few of his Colossi stay alive, maybe a few more High Templars in the mix, and then his army is just going to run this over. He's trying to populate his 4th base up down to this bottom left-hand corner. If QXE is able to recover from this situation, stay alive, and then kind of stabilize on that 4th base, that would be absolutely amazing. Because puCK is so in control, so in control.
He's up to 5 bases already, 4, getting a 5th base behind this. Upgrades as well are looking really nice. It's 3-3-1 up against 3-1, but here we go. The Colossus at the back getting so much damage down. There's the GG, and puCK playing that just absolutely fantastically.
Yeah, really well done overall on a map like that. He knew exactly what to do. Overall, he opened up a little bit more greedy than relative to what QXC was doing, because of course in the first game he opened up Command Center first. In this one, with the Reaper opener into Command Center, and he was able to keep up to that point, shut down all the drop pressure on the left and right, and that actually really hurt QXC. The fact that he's had to basically sacrifice 2 medevacs worth full of units on either side and do nothing with it, it gave puCK full reign of the game from there on, because he knew how much army supply he'd killed.
Yeah, and puCK just adapting from perhaps the mistakes of game number 1 to prevent QXC getting into arguably that incredibly strong position where he can just scan. And that levels this out 1-1. Of course, the winner of this will go on to face Violet in the losers bracket final. The winner of that goes on to face up against Polt to get that qualification spot for Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. And well, it all comes down to this on who advances on to face Violet. Catalina will be the map. What are your thoughts on this map, Kalaris? What kind of strategies do you reckon we're going to be seeing?
Overall, a bit more aggressive than the previous two maps. Kind of has to be. Well, I mean, depending on spawning positions and how it's going to play out. I mean, we have seen a lot of QXC's like positional play on this map, and he will try and force you to expand in unfavorable directions, which is really, really cool to watch from QXC. It's a little bit more difficult in this matchup. puCK just needs 1 second while we get into this third game. But the way in which puCK reacted from game number 1 to game number 2 and was basically on lockdown was really, really nice to see. And he wasn't taking any silly risks either. I mean, it's difficult on Deadwing to take any silly risks, like sending a Zealot Stalker Mothership Core over the other side of the map because it is so far away. But he was on lockdown, and it was really nice to watch because he just countered QXC in every way.
I think it's quite interesting to note as well that at least in any kind of broadcast matches, these two haven't apparently played back since actually quite a long time. No, actually not as long ago as I think it was, because it's an American dating system.
Oh, yeah,
I got very confused, and so, yeah, American dating system. They have played back in August. puCK was able to take that 3-1 against QXC there, and what was that in, do we know? The World Esports Championship. So, but anyway, enough about that. What has been, it's tied 1-1. The winner of this game goes on to face Violet in the loser bracket finals. Catalina is going to be the map. And well, it's going to be interesting to see a bit more of an aggressive game, we reckon, out of these two.
Yeah, I think so. Again, depends on spawning positions. If you wanted to try to lock down a whole base, like if puCK spawned down in the bottom right-hand corner, for example, if you want to lock down that base, oh god, he has. All right, let's get into it. Let's see what's going to happen. Catalina is our map. Game number 3, spawning up to the top right-hand corner is our purple Terran. It is QXC. And down to the bottom right, we have our red Protoss. It is IVD puCK, who didn't get the most favorable of spots. So locking down this base can be a bit tricky. But at the same time, I have this feeling in my mind that he's not going to go for something aggressive to try and finish it early, and then maybe he'll just die off to drop pressure. That's my prediction for this game. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, for the moment, of course, being in a minute, nothing too crazy is going on yet, which is to be expected. But yeah, in terms of this map as a whole, there's just a lot of space around the back of the main base. Pretty much the only thing. It looks like a nice vacation spot, I reckon, down in this dead space area. I mean, like the cliff may be a bit of a shadow depending on sun direction, but a nice beach.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little bit featureless, I guess. And I don't like the beach because I'm a ginger, so I just burn instantly if I go anywhere near one. So I'd rather not. I'd rather not.
You'd be more suited to Deadwing then.
Yeah, that's actually quite
some nice
dreary
architecture.
And dark. I don't mind the architecture. The architecture will do me okay. It's like Zelnaga architecture, right?
Yep.
Or something like that. But overall, the sun does not fare well with me. I'm basically pale white, then I turn red, then I peel, then I'm back to white. I never actually turn some kind of different shade of tan. Never, ever, ever in my life. So it's kind of sad, actually.
On the bright side, though, you're in esports, so you don't have to go outside, which is...
It's a good job. I never do.
Yeah, just stay inside. It's better. It's warm. It's nice. It's friendly.
Yeah, it's got video games. And if I'm outside, I just play video games on my way to places anyway, so it's okay.
It's my favorite reason that Hearthstone came on iPad, is because if I do go on holiday, I can just sit on a sun lounger and play in the sun.
Fair play. Fair play.
It'd be a bit weird taking my desktop to play StarCraft in the sun.
Yeah, that'd be a bit difficult.
Yeah.
I have a laptop for that. I was playing StarCraft on a train at one point, and people are just like watching me. I could see them. I could see their reflection in my monitor, like watching me, and I'm like, you guys. It was kind of cool. Playing StarCraft on trains is awesome. This is going to be a little bit more crazy than I was anticipating, because he's going to proxy something by the looks of things. This probe was spazzing around for a little bit. And, yeah. So puCK is having none of that long game. I mean, of course it can go into a long game, even if he is going to proxy something on the left-hand side anyway. And there is the potential that he's just hiding this probe over here because he feels that he's not going to be able to get in to get any scouting information anyway. But, I mean, with how long it's been sticking around here...
It's got something planned. It's got something. It's just what? There is only the one gas at the moment, which means that obviously puCK isn't going to be doing anything with it too soon. It may just be a proxy pylon, just because it is the one gas. But of course, behind this QXE, going up to those 3 racks, it's just normal stuff out of him. It's natural base finished up, morphing into an orbital command already. Both of these two just kind of chilling. Normal game.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of a delayed starport up to the top left would be kind of cool, but then it could even be Twilight Council into Dark Shrine. But if it was that, I'd be a little bit... I wouldn't be too happy with the idea of Twilight Council into Dark Shrine because of how QXC was preparing in game number 1, if you recall, with just actual like preemptive missile turrets before you even saw anything going on. So maybe that wouldn't be the best option if it was going to be something like that, but he's just going for the robo down to the bottom right. So for now, this probe is just basically chilling completely. And this Stalker, are you actually going to get a probe kill? Is this Marine going to get a probe kill? He almost did.
He's going to. 1 for 1. The Stalker got 1 as well.
What is going on? That was weird.
Equal trade. It's all fine. The Marine died, though. Suddenly. Slight advantage there. Oh, but the Stalker, brave Stalker. Come on. Your buddy saw this on Deadwing. Don't go up a ramp when you don't have vision.
That's okay. Wearing this shirt, we should have said equivalent trade is the law of alchemy. That's the sickest nerd joke ever for my shirt that I'm currently wearing. And about like 10 people got that watching if they've been paying attention to my shirt. But anyway, whatever. Dude, I like Full Metal Alchemist. It's really cool. Anyway, so there was an engineering bay thrown down as well as QXE really wants to be on top of his upgrades here. He was just going 1 engineering bay, then into the armory and 2nd engineering bay later on anyway, so he wasn't really flurrying out those upgrades before. But still, this probe, you little guy, I guess he's really not doing anything with it. Just wanted to keep it alive for now.
I feel bad. I hate it when I do that. Like, I always read in a lot to, like, if a probe sing around. Like, rightfully so. You sing there, the probe up there early, dancing about there, and then it just does nothing.
You know what could be cool overall is using that probe later on as the probe to throw down a pylon if he wants to do something like a 2-base Colossus push. Because you've always got to be a little bit careful about throwing a probe out towards and then it getting spotted and then it kind of giving the game plan away. Scan goes down, sees the robo. I didn't see the timing of the robo bay on the high ground. So, yeah. Not massive in the end.
Meanwhile, over on QXE's side, he's just starting up that +1. Stim's about half finished, and he's just again going for a very normal composition of things. Notice he's just keeping a couple of Marines around in case any Stargate or anything was coming on down.
Where's the first forge? He's adding on extra gateways. The thing is that... okay, there's the first forge in Twilight Council. I was expecting those to come in very soon, and they're now on the way. He's going up to plenty of probes as well, so I think he is just going to play this out. If he went for something like Colossus push, I'd be very surprised, considering he isn't really rushing out those Colossi. So, yeah, I think he's just going to play this out longer, just longer, and gives QXE a good opportunity to start pushing everywhere because he has so much space to drop in the base.
Yep. A 3rd base is going to come on down from puCK. He's positioned a pylon down there already, so he is gearing up, ready to take it. But yeah, as you said, QXE. He's got a big army. He's got a lot of space to drop, although puCK is doing quite a bit to try and prevent that. If we take a look, he's got 4 observers out on the map. He's got good coverage and vision to see if anything was moving in, so trying to minimize a potential disadvantage he's got on this map and a vulnerability to drops that he does have.
Yeah, and he's also going to see that 4th base being planted down pretty fast, which will give him the... Well, if he were to stick around, there we go, okay. Which will give him the peace of mind to actually throw down his 3rd base pretty fast, but there's actually going to be a Marine there. So ideally, you would like to stop that and then go and take it so you weren't revealing it instantly. But finally, the pylon on the left-hand side is real. And this probe has accomplished his mission of actually being useful for once.
He did something. Yeah. At long last. He wasn't just there for a vacation. But yeah, that Marine gets sliced in half. Not too nice. I often wonder if you had to be killed by any unit in the game, which would you pick?
Which one would be the quickest death? I think a feedback would be pretty quick. Right?
That looks that's kind of like exploding from the inside out, though. I would go for a cloaked ghost, just sniping me. I had no idea about it.
Okay, no, that's okay. I can understand that. But
just happily walking along one day, then
how much would you really feel from a feedback? Because it's so fast. You just actually
The ghosts
disintegrate.
scream.
Well, the ghosts do, but like they're not the ones getting feedback, right?
I don't know how much energy
oh, no, okay,
do I
they
have.
are the ones getting feedback. You're right.
How much energy do
I'm
I
thinking
have?
about reverse.
If I've had like a couple of Red Bulls, I reckon a feedback would hurt quite badly.
If you get feedback and don't die, that's gonna be painful.
So if I've had like half a Red Bull, I've got like half a Red Bull's worth of energy.
Yeah,
That'd be ow. Yeah.
That
okay.
would be really bad. But a full feedback with full energy would be okay. What is actually going on in this game now that I'm looking at it?
We've got QXE just bringing over reinforcements. He's still just chilling around, trying to deny that third, but it wasn't placed yet. So puCK one out there. Good couple of Zealots. Thanks to that probe. Thanks to those pylons.
These are the fond Zealots, man. They're getting in there and actually doing something. This is like some of the first Zealot harassment that we've properly seen in this series, and it's a refreshing treat, as this army does not want to be sticking around there for too long.
It was only 3 SCVs for 3 Zealots, so...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Is he going to stick around? I don't think he can get
No, he
that.
can't. There's 3 Colossi. He's going to have to
Way
back
too
out.
much. Way too much.
Of course, with no Stalkers there. Try to push up into the natural. That was a brave move.
Yeah, that was really ambitious. I think overall right now, QXE is looking okay, but it's just stabilized. I mean, look how close things are. Army supply is close. Worker supply is very close. Second Forge is getting added on at almost exactly the same time as the Engineering Bay and Armory. But of course, with Chrono Boosts, focused down here by Mr. puCK, he should be fine.
The upgrades are pretty level. Obviously, QXE going to fall slightly behind there overall. But yeah, this is a very equal game. Probably the most level we've actually had in this series so far.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I mean, QXE hasn't really lost too much in terms of the drops like he did in game number 2, which really left him in a terrible spot. He lost so much army supply in those 4 medevacs across the board and really didn't get too much damage done. Whereas in this one, puCK, you know, he's been completely fine in the earlier stages, whereas, I mean, that wasn't really that many probe kills either there. So this one could continue to just keep going the distance.
Still checking around. Templar Archives coming on in now. This was a lot more of a commitment to Colossus than we've seen in previous games from puCK. He did go up to 4, doubling every time, curiously. First game 1, second game 2, this game 4. Good job it's not best of 7, otherwise that'd be a lot of Colossus early on.
That would be a lot of Colossus. He keeps finding the pylons as well on the left-hand side, which is not too bad. Stalker's going to poke forward to get a few, maybe just 1 Marauder. But overall, that's okay. You know, these very, very small trades against all of this.
Resources lost is incredibly low, actually. Only just over 2,000 resources lost in total from both sides this game. And when you factor in we're 15 minutes through, that's not really too common.
The Ghost Academy is a little bit later than the previous couple of games.
But then again, so is the Templar Archives.
Yeah. Storm will be done, though. Gets himself a Viking. So, really good Blinkstalker control overall. And, uh-oh, where did he scan? What did he see? I'm not even sure where he scanned. Oh, he scanned over here so he can catch an observer. That makes sense.
Again, another Viking gets picked off there. That was really nice.
Does he keep getting them?
Yeah.
Overall, though, I mean, it's going to be replenished pretty speedily by the fact that there is that double starport whirring away with the 4 Vikings at any time. So, but, you know, the commitment to gas there, it's currently quite low here for him. And he's actually getting even more. This is really good control by puCK, but he's going pretty deep into enemy territory. So these Stalkers, they're just going for as many Vikings as possible. How many Colossi does he have? Uh-oh. He has 5.
Yep. And he's knocked the Viking count down to, well, down to 9. There's obviously double production. Simultaneously, though, a 4th place trying to get taken. This double drop is going to be able to prevent it, or try and prevent it. Draws the army a long way out. And over on the right-hand side, there is a small cluster of units waiting, but they're not moving in to take advantage of this big positional move.
With those snipes, it's such a shame that he actually couldn't take advantage and push across, right? Like
He might do now.
He may do.
There's time. When you're making 4 Vikings at a time, you can...
Yeah. I mean, the window is so small when you're making this many Vikings all the time, right? It's like trying to hit that. Will he go, though? Will he go? Maybe he's...
He does have Storm. He does have 3 High Templar. Morphing in a couple of Archons now as well.
I don't know if he can break this location. But that being said, the Vikings don't have any upgrades.
True.
So It really depends on where the Storms hit again. I mean, you can never count out a Protoss when it comes to actually them having high Templars in this mix. But then again, there's 6 Ghosts, so they're going to go blow for blow.
This fourth base, yeah, the fourth base is definitely going to die. Recalls.
He recalled some probes over there, and that was too.
His aim was to fold an overcharge in time, but.
Oh, that was the funniest recall. Okay, EMPs are actually going to hit quite a few of those High Templars at the front. This Bioforce is kind of melting away, though. Storm will hit quite a lot of it as well. And the Colossi have gone uncontested for the most part. So if he warps in extra Zealots and keeps going with this, he could shut down the third base. He's actually had to pull out a lot of SCVs here.
Yeah, the Viking count isn't good. Only 7, and that's up against the 5 Colossus. They're quite scary. A couple of Vikings going down, and now it's 1 Viking per Colossus. Not the sort of odds you want in a trade like this. puCK gets the Orbital. That's a really nice pick off there. There isn't a spare one, I don't think. Oh, no, there is a spare command center. That's fine. But yeah, all in all, this is a nice little move through from puCK. Gonna warp in a few more Zealots, pick off any of those reinforcements. The Pylon stays alive with 1 HP.
Oh, if he could go now. There's no Ghosts. There's no Ghosts. If he had some High Templars behind all of this and went. But at the same time, you know, it's 2-2 upgrades against... again, 2-2 upgrades. But there's 5 Colossi. 5 Colossi against these Vikings. If he gets some blinks on top of the Vikings, it won't be in vain. He will have the firepower to bring himself through this Bioforce. He should just take the engagement. He should just go. He should get those Vikings, blinks forwards, trying to get on top of them. The SCVs come off the line. QXC knows he's in quite a bit of trouble. There's still 3 Colossi remaining, and no more Vikings left with this army. QXC is melting away, and puCK, with the strong move forwards, is going to do a lot of damage here.
A few reinforcing Vikings coming in will finally start chipping away at those Colossi, but a lot of work's been done. 56 SCVs have been killed. QXC, he's got nothing to come from that. GG is called. And that means the puCK now advances over QXC to face Violet in the loser bracket finals.
Yeah, despite QXC's PVT looking really good in a couple of the games there, puCK able to kind of, you could see it throughout that series. He was able to iron things out a little bit from game 1 to game 2 to game 3, and in game 3 there, ended it a little bit quicker than QXC would have liked. So that was really
it's
cool.
Adaptation. If you adapt to how your opponent's playing, if they've got a quite successful playstyle, that's where you're going to get into a nice spot. And actually QXC did do a good job as well, because in game number 2 he had a little bit of a run around, got quite contained. In game number 3 was able to play it out a bit better, but game 3, really it's just puCK taking a wise engagement and knowing when he was ahead, and picking off the Vikings with the Blinkstalkers really allowed him to utilize those Colossi so much better.
All right, well, that means now we're down to 2 series left. We're going to go to a short break, and then when we're back, we're going to have the second last series of the night. It's going to be puCK going up against Violet to find out who goes up against Polt in the final series.